wherever you are, however you may be listening. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the All Cardinals podcast. Our rookie profile series continues today with fourth round pick Jonathan Gaines, the very versatile center out of UCLA. But before we get into everything, go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at Donnie and Drew and at RichieBrads36. Follow our work at allcardinals.com or si.com/NFL/Cardinals. Richie Bradshaw. Today we are breaking down Jonathan Gaines, the day 3 pick for Arizona, who could probably pay dividends a little bit further down the road. Before we get into him, how are you?
I'm good. I'm just living another day. I'm still waiting for Arizona to get its stuff together because it's still under 100 degrees right now and we are in the middle of June. So trust me, I'm enjoying it, but I'm kind of sitting there like you're gonna
You just
really hit
jinxed
me,
it.
aren't you?
You just jinxed it. It's going to be like
Good.
120 in September now.
Good.
Congrats.
I hope so. That's why I
No.
live here.
120 in September is probably coming our way. I'm definitely trying to enjoy the sub 100 degree weather, but we all know it's Arizona. I feel like things change every year, and the hot weather gets pushed back just a little bit more the further
It's
along the
Thanos,
road that we
Donnie.
go.
It's inevitable.
It is inevitable indeed. Today we're breaking down rookie Jonathan Gaines, the very versatile offensive lineman, 40 years of the Cardinals, who I don't want to say slipped to day 3, but when you look at his draft profile, when you look at what he brings to the table, it certainly feels like he did slip.
I think that's fair to say. This is a guy with a lot of accomplishments. He's played 45 games, Donnie, in 5 years. He started 30 of them. So he started 2/3 of the games that he participated in. He played at 3 different positions. He played at right tackle, he played at center, he played at right guard. He's got a lot of comfort playing at the right guard position, but compared to like tackles switching sides, it's easier to move along the interior of the line than it is the outside of the line. So he could probably be a left guard in a pinch if he needed him to. And he's got that experience at center as well. And with all that experience has come a lot of really good things for him. I mean, this is a guy who definitely shows that football IQ when he's playing on the field. He knows what he needs to do. He knows where he needs to be, when he needs to be there, all that good stuff. He's a technician. There still needs to be some cleanup, I think. And that was probably a lot of people's gripes, not just mine, was he needs to be able to start putting everything together because there is a potential for him to be a full-time starter. I think there's potential for him to be an above average starter. It's just a matter of putting everything together. He definitely has the IQ. He just needs the refinement in his hand usage and just the little things that come with being a technician on the offensive line.
Yeah, and you look at the typical day 3 picks, not just for Arizona, but I feel like for everybody across the league. Not to call them like dart throws or anything, but a lot of these guys you are going to see, and as we move forward into our rookie profile series, a lot of these guys do have a handful of issues that they need to kind of work on. A lot of these guys might be considered projects to certain people. I think John Gaines definitely kind of fills that role as he's solid right now, but if we can just get him to that next stage of his development, he could be something pretty good for us. Not very uncommon for a fourth round pick to kind of be on that verge of, well, he could fill in for you in a pinch right now, but you probably should get his feet underneath him for a little bit. I think Gaines kind of teeters that line perfectly because, like you said, extremely smart, extremely athletic. And when you have those two things as an offensive lineman, I feel like if you just add a little bit more to your body, a little bit more to your strength, and kind of, like I said earlier, get your feet underneath you, those are the two makings for a pretty solid offensive lineman, especially in the interior.
Yeah, Donnie, there's lots of things that you can teach, but one of the things you can't teach is athleticism. And John Gaines has athleticism. He can move. He's quick. I think there's potential for him to incorporate more of the power that he has in the gym and put it onto the field as well. Because I don't have any questions about functional strength. I think that this dude could bench press me in one hand, you in the other hand, and do probably 30 reps. I don't have any questions about that. But I do want to be able to see him be able to convert that on the football field because like the biggest example I can think of is bull rushes. It's going to be a lot of technique and converting the hand usage, the hip placement, the footwork, all that good stuff, putting it all together and then using that functional strength to be able to anchor. He can't anchor yet, but he can get to that point if he just refines everything. But back to my original point, You can't teach being an athlete. This dude is an athlete. And when you have that kind of athleticism along the offensive line, all it takes is somebody who's really smart to be able to get the best out of you and be able to help you take that next step. And you could become something really, really good. I do think that the upside here is an above average starter. I'm not willing to say Pro Bowl. I'm not willing to say All Pro. I'm not willing to say Hall of Fame. I am willing to say that this is a guy who can be a 17-game starter and a damn good one.
Well, I think if you get a guy like that on day 3, you really can't complain, right? I mean, you expect
It's an
that
A
sort
plus
of
at that point.
right. You expect that sort of, I don't want to say production, but growth or like just overall contributions to the roster out of a guy from a first, second, or third round pick. Fourth round is kind of where you get in that gray area. Monty Austin after he drafted Jonathan Gaines on day 3, and it's a very nice thing to say. He said, well, he played some center back on the UCLA film. Seeing it at the All-Star game is not necessarily better competition, but the ability to do that, then the pro day, his intellect and meetings with our coaches, meeting with our scouts, clearly mentally he can handle it. Guys get shuffled around. So having a guy who's done it, not just projected to do it, so you can look at some tape and see that, it's a very valuable skill set. And kind of just harp on what you said. You can teach a lot of things. You can't teach athleticism and you can't teach that football IQ. If you're smart enough to handle it and if you're athletic enough to carry it out, I kind of like your chances. But obviously, Jonathan Gaines fell to the 4th round for a reason, but he's not in a position to where he's going to have to start and be plugged in right away. We'll get into that in a little bit. But overall, I feel like he's in a very, very good spot. I think he's in a very good spot with the team around him. No true expectations for him to, like you said, be a 17-game starter moving forward. But the upside and the projections are at least there for him in the future.
I would agree. And when you've got it between the ears, like he does, and when you've got the athleticism that you can't teach, the strength, the speed, the bend, the burst, all that stuff, when you already have the stuff that you can't teach, and now you just need to focus on the stuff that is teachable, I won't say sky's the limit because he was a day 3 pick for a reason, but I do think that there is some awesome potential down the line here. The problem, Donnie, is the Cardinals historically have not been great at developing offensive line talent. So Jon Gaines might fill the role of, a plethora of other offensive linemen we've seen over the years. Like, I'm sure people thought this about Bobby Massey way back in the day. I'm sure there's been other examples as well. That's just one of the bigger ones that popped into my head. This is a team and a franchise that historically doesn't develop well when it comes to the offensive line. But we also have to remember this isn't the same Cardinals. This is a different Cardinals, right?
This is not your mom and dad's Arizona Cardinals.
Exactly. It's not your grandparents either. Probably closer to your great-grandparents. But point is, this is hopefully a new regime that is going to be able to actually develop these guys and get them to that next level. Because if this continues to persist, the Cardinals might be haunted at this point. Cardinals have had decent offensive linemen in the past. I don't know how many they've drafted, developed on day 3. Maybe Jon Gaines can be the first of a long line of those guys that can come along, but you got to be able to get to that point first. We can only talk about potential for so long before it doesn't matter.
Exactly. I feel like people feel that exact way about Isaiah Simmons, right? I mean, just so much potential, but you can only talk about potential for so long before it eventually just amounts to nothing. And the kind of kicked this conversation to a different gear. A couple of things Austin Fort did say here that I really, really liked. One, they don't have to wonder if Jon Gaines can play multiple positions. They've seen it. They have seen it on film that he can handle snaps at center, right guard, right tackle, whatever it may be.
And he played well at right tackle.
Yeah. No, I think we can get into it here in a little bit, but I think he's probably suited better to play right guard. But if he needs to play tackle, he could obviously play tackle as well. Putting that on paper, here are his PFF numbers right here. If you look in the top right, those are all of his percentiles of interior offensive linemen with 350 plus blocking snaps. All very impressive, no matter if it's run or pass blocking. Then if you look in the bottom left corner, it shows you the divvied up snaps by year. All of his snaps at right guard last year. The year before, he got snaps at center, right guard, and right tackle. And then in 2020, obviously center and mostly right guard. Feels like you can sprinkle him kind of anywhere. He'll play there. His most experience, does come at right guard. I wouldn't love to see him at tackle, but if you need him in a stretch, he's at least shown that there's some experience there.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the bottom line right now is, look, we've talked about position versatility, we've talked about potential, we've talked about athleticism, all that stuff. You can get to that point. I think what you need to do year one, potentially even just developing Jon Gaines in general, is place him where he's comfortable, place him where he knows how to succeed. I think that this is a trap that the Cardinals have fallen into before, and Isaiah Simmons is the perfect example. And if you don't like that example, then we'll go Hassan Reddick. And I understand that's different sides of the football, but the point is, you love that the versatility is there, but for a guy that's raw and needs development, you need to be able to place him in situations where he's going to be able to succeed, where he's going to be able to get comfortable, to grow, and develop his overall confidence at the next level. Because this is a learning curve. This is not UCLA. This is the NFL. This is the top of the top. The worst NFL players are some of the best college players, right? So this is going to be a curve for Jon Gaines. The worst thing the Cardinals can do is start him in 3 different places in year one, or play him out of position on a consistent basis. Right now, worry about getting him comfortable and getting his feet wet for the next level, because I don't know if this is a day one starter. I don't know if this is a year one starter, Johnny. So the worst thing that you could do right now to disservice Jon Gaines and his NFL future would be to get too cheeky with him and say, well, he's a jack of all trades because he can play all these different spots. Just start him at right guard, let him get comfortable, and then let everything else just organically happen. If he is a fit for center, then let him find his way to center. Don't force him to center when he's not even comfortable at his natural position yet. Get there when you get there.
I would agree. And an interesting note, during rookie minicamp, camp, he was snapping at center next to Paris Johnson, who's playing left guard. When we look at the depth chart here in a second, you'll see he might be the best backup center on the roster right now. Kind of depends on how you look at Lacita Smith. But overall, Mitch is a very, very versatile guy. He seemingly played well wherever he played at. But like you said, that's UCLA. And when you're going up against Aaron Donald, that monster defensive line that they have in San Francisco now, and obviously a very, very tough Seattle Seahawks front seven twice a year, it makes a difference where you play. It really makes a difference whether or not you are going to be playing out of position and whether or not you're comfortable, right? And just moving on to the depth chart to kind of put a bow on this conversation. Early June, I feel like the Arizona Cardinals have their starting 5. I think left tackle, obviously, with DJ Humphries is there. It would be very surprising if Paris Johnson is not starting at left guard this year. Him playing at tackle, a whole different conversation. I think he does make that transition past 2023. Will Hernandez at right guard, Kelvin Beachum at right tackle. Pretty much the only way I see Jon Gaines sneaking into the starting 5 is with Yaldi Froholt at center. But I think Yaldi has that position kind of locked in right now, just because he doesn't have a whole lot of experience. He didn't play a lot for the Cleveland Browns last year, but whatever he did look pretty all right. I don't think Lacita Smith impressed super greatly last season. Granted, I feel like you can take anybody's 2022 season and kind of just throw it away for very obvious reasons. But if there's a way for Jon Gaines to play in 2023, I think it's going to be dead in the middle of the line.
Yes. It's not going to be a right tackle. It's and the only other way would be like injuries, and we're not here to talk about
which
like,
happens.
the injury bug. That right, but it's not our job to be like, well, when Will Hernandez gets hurt, or exactly, yeah, that's not what we're here for. So it would have to take somebody ahead of him playing like really, really poorly, like you said. The guy they have at center right now, I have not mastered pronouncing his name the way that you have.
Yaldi.
Bless you.
Thank you. It's okay.
I'll have to say it in front of the mirror.
In every memo the team sends out, they make sure to add like how you pronounce it.
That's wonderful. Tell them to start sending it my way too.
Yeah, I'll forward it to you.
Perfect. Yeah. If this guy doesn't have enough like great reps or good reps or whatever, then you can experiment with Gaines there. But yeah, no, I really like Hernandez. I was actually really adamant that they needed to bring him back. So
Yeah,
happy
dude, a
he's
lot of
back.
people overlooked him. And granted, it was a very
Not me.
shitty offensive line that he
Not
played
me.
on.
I
No,
like
I
him.
know, but just like when people evaluated their free agency group for this offseason, Hernandez was kind of like on that bubble. And look, if you were going to do like a hard reset on the offensive line, sure. But like Hernandez coming back for cheap, I feel like is a pretty solid deal for them.
I agree. I think that was a really good pickup for them, and I hope that he can pay his dividends with that prison yard mentality that he's had since year one.
But nonetheless, Jon Gaines, I feel like won't be forced into action. Obviously, the preseason is going to be a very good opportunity for him to get those live reps. And like Jonathan Gannon said a little bit earlier this week, reps are gold in the NFL because you don't get a lot of them, especially if you were not a starter. So the more you can get, the better. And I feel like that's why things such as minicamp, such as training camp, such as preseason are going to be vital for these young guys, especially a guy like Jonathan Gaines who's still trying to kind of figure out where he sits in the NFL. I feel like it's, even though very early, it's going to be a very, very big summer for the UCLA product. So
Looking forward to it.
no, absolutely. Anything else you want to say? Any closing thoughts on Jonathan Gaines? I know you watched a little bit of tape on him. I like the pick. I like the pick a lot. I think this is definitely more of a down the road, hopefully pays dividends pick. But I feel like if for whatever reason he doesn't pan out, nobody's losing sleep over a 4th round interior offensive lineman not working out in Arizona.
Nope. And just to echo that point, this is a down the road pick, you guys. If Jon Gaines is starting as a rookie, either everything went horribly wrong, or he seriously is like one of the steals at the draft. And it's probably going to be that middle ground, which is a lot more. Well, that was nice. I don't know how to fix this, but anyway.
That attacked you.
Oh, there it goes. My dog was standing up underneath my desk and just knocked the light down, which propelled a big screen, and I couldn't figure out what to do. But anyways,
that's probably the most entertaining thing that's happened in the last 17 and a half minutes.
I hate you. I truly hate you, but I love you at the same time. This is a down the road pick, guys. Stay patient.
Stay patient indeed. Next up, Richie, on our rookie profile series, Clayton Tune, baby, the best quarterback in the 2023 NFL draft. I'm ready. I hope you are ready to get tuned up. I hope everybody else is ready to get tuned up, but we will have plenty of more on the All Cardinals YouTube channel. Go and comment, like, subscribe on the video soon. I want to tease this right now. Soon we will be giving away a brand new Kyler Murray jersey on the YouTube channel. More details to come. So stay locked in right here. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the All Cardinals podcast. For Richie Bradshaw, I am Donnie Drew, and go to follow us on Twitter at RichieBrads36, at Donnie Drew, and follow our work at allcardinals.com or si.com/NFL/Cardinals. Make it a great day or not. The choice is yours.